Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, ohaya gonzaimas, guten morgen, hola, bonjour. Hi, hugs and hellos, and a very amazing khush amadi to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning. Well, I missed out on Privyet, and
it doesn't really matter.
there's one more to it.
Because you have got so many. And
Guten Morgen.
Yeah, great.
How are you, Maha?
I'm great. And you know, I'm actually thinking, and I'm being really serious, that I'm going to have to start learning to do something while you're doing the hellos.
Really?
Because I'm just sitting there and, you know, like...
I mean, what we can do is probably, you know, if we both get to learn all of these, like half I can say, and then half of them you can say as well.
No, because it's your thing, you know? It's like, it's something that is very... It's nice. You've got your own phrase in the morning. No, I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start doing it tomorrow. It's a surprise.
Tell me. I'll prepare myself then.
No, it's a surprise.
Oh, come on, don't do that.
No. Okay,
Oh
on
my
that
God.
note, so how are you, Shazad?
I'm absolutely perfect. I think I'm doing fine. I wasn't very well when I got up in the morning because what happened...
Or you know?
Well, I think because what happened was that I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and then I was like, okay, so why am I up so early?
Yeah.
So then I went back to bed.
That's I was going to say, you came to work early today. Okay, and then what happened?
And what about G?
My sleep has kind of not been very good.
All right.
However, I've been very productive in that time. So I've been, cleaning my room, sorting things out. My father's going to be visiting soon, so I have just been preparing for that.
And I was very excited for today as well, because today the topic we picked up on, in fact, it's not even a topic, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to observe a day.
Yes.
We'll definitely let you know about it. But I think, first of all, top stories coming up.
Yes, absolutely.
Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi has directed to devise a comprehensive plan to ensure food security and address issues faced by the agriculture sector.
Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi has strongly condemned the unprovoked firing by Indian forces.
For the first time in the history of Pakistan, internationally acclaimed Red Arrows aerobatics team of Royal Air Force would present a mesmerizing air show at Seaview, Karachi today.
And Bangladesh authorities say they have introduced new biometric identity cards for Rohingya children entering the country to facilitate the distribution of aid. Hopefully that will ease their suffering a little bit.
Yeah. And massive surging Ayantang tide bore wowed spectators the mid-autumn festival in the city of Hanning, East China's Zhejiang province. Wow.
The ongoing 16th China International Circus Festival is entertaining and wowing holidaymakers during the National Day and Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, with stunts performed by acrobats from 17 countries and regions in North China's Hebei province.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, these were the top stories. Time now for a public service message, and we will both do the honors. Go on. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I had one too, but I was thinking about it on the way to work, because we struggle a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because every day, trying to give a new message, because first of all, we don't want to lecture you guys, we don't want to nag you guys, but we just want to, at the beginning of the day, it's a great way to remember things that we may normally forget, right?
Exactly. So the first thing which is going to come out of my mouth is that, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you are traveling early in the morning, which is probably when kids go to school, they definitely take a van, or, if you go by a bus. So whenever you're getting off the van or a bus, please make sure before you get off that there's no other car coming or passing by, because that can be very dangerous. And please make sure that you tell that to your kids too.
Exactly. And just linked to this school buses and school drives, when you guys are also dropping and picking up your children, please don't block the roads.
Yeah.
I know you're not, and I'm sorry if this sounds mean, but I know we're not used to walking or moving around too much, but it doesn't matter if you park around the corner. If you have to walk an extra 100 meters, you'll get some fresh air. Stop blocking the roads.
Yeah.
You don't own them. They are for everyone, and they're, you disrupt the traffic.
And I think that what you need to do is that for example, that there was a law passed that you cannot open up a restaurant in a house or whatnot. I think there should be a law about schools as well. This is where the roads get blocked.
Well, when I discussed this, actually, we discussed about this with some friends and family. There actually is a law, but the thing is, because it's such a disruption and because of the safety and security of the children, they're not going to do it haphazardly. So they've given schools time, but I don't know actually what's the update.
Yeah. Now, before we move on towards our topic, Maya, I've got a question for you. And that question is, who was your favorite teacher in school?
Oh, okay. So her name was Mrs. Andrews. It was when I first moved to Pakistan and we had to go to school, and my English was pretty weak. Not, at the stage where I could understand English people talking. And so, yeah, I just remember her, and she was really nice. And at one point, she was in a wheelchair and stuff. But
Really?
she was one of the best teachers ever.
And the only teacher I can remember is Sir Asif. So I think I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and I was very dyslexic because of the fact that I couldn't really pass my mathematics exam.
Okay.
So what happened was that, I just got done with my exam, and then, after 2-3 days, I went to my teacher because it's going to be summer vacations. So I just wanted to feel relaxed that, okay, I'm going to pass all the exams. So I went to my teacher. I was like, sir, am I going to pass or whatnot? And then he said, yeah, tum pass ho. You're going to make it.
Yeah.
And then eventually when the result came in, I flunked.
Oh, no.
So
you know what he did? No, I know what he did. He knew that, or maybe he didn't check at that point, but he wanted you to have a good summer because he knew that otherwise.
But imagine that, if he would have actually told me, I would have worked more harder so that I could succeed in the next exam.
No.
So all my summer vacations, I was just hoping here and there. And then eventually when we got back to school and there were exams again, couldn't do it.
Oh, okay. So, no, that's your mismanagement. And this is the public service message we gave a few days ago about time management. It's very important. But now, talking about teachers, they're an important way of life. They're integral to our success, to our outcome. And also, they're the reasons why we're probably sitting here today.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Being able to talk to you guys.
Exactly. That's what the reason is, ladies and gentlemen. Today is 5th of October, and today is World Teachers Day, and this year's theme is?
Teaching in freedom and empowering teachers.
All right. Now, for example, when you get to read this theme, when I was preparing myself, so I thought, okay, what do we actually mean by teaching in freedom? Or empowering the teachers, because they're already so empowered that they can pretty much, send somebody out of the class, make somebody raise their hands or stand up as well. So what do we mean by that?
Okay, and that's a very important point because, we have different ideas of what power or success or all these things mean. Power isn't just telling someone what to do. Power is actually, and freedom is having the ability to teach someone in a manner you see fit, which is actually all-encompassing, is our interpretation as non-educationalists.
And I would love to highlight the brief background as well, ladies and gentlemen. It goes back to 1966, where UNESCO and ILO actually made a few recommendations, but it was celebrated for the very first time, I think, in 1994. Yes. Very right.
Yes,
that's
I know.
correct. That's what you call teamwork.
Yeah.
That's what you call teamwork. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sole background. And I think that over here in Pakistan, we really need to address quite a lot of issues which teachers face. And we do have teachers over here. We do have a teacher trainer over here. What would you call a teacher who trains teachers?
Teacher trainer.
Teacher trainer?
No. A teacher trainer. teacher trainer. That's a good one too. But yeah, we're going to be discussing what the quality assurance as well of it, because as you said, teachers need freedom, they need to be empowered. However, you can only have freedom and empowerment when you are specialized or trained in the area you are working in. Exactly. So we've been joined by some wonderful people in the studio to discuss this topic.
We talk so much now.
Yes, we do. So we need to stop. So we've been joined by Dr. Farida Faisal. She is the head of business school, Arid University. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Besides Dr. Farida, we've been joined by Mr. Zulfikar Ali. He is a technical director, teacher training and Pakistan Region Project. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
So thank you very much for coming over. Thank you very much for joining us on such a special day. So let's start with our very basic question, and that is, how would you highlight the importance of today's
event?
Yeah.
So why are we
observing it?
Yes.
Well, I think there are so many issues related with this day. which need to be highlighted, the importance of education itself,
Yeah.
and celebrating teachers, putting them on a certain pedestal. You
Yes.
see, when you put them there, then they need to perform.
Yes.
Introspection, I believe, on the teacher level as well. Are we really worthy of this pedestal?
Yeah.
Are we doing our best? See, training takes you to a certain level. You need to be of a certain mindset to join this profession. It's
Absolutely.
a very holy profession, and we are indeed honored to be here. So we honor our teachers and we honor ourselves.
Yeah, you are obviously our spiritual parents. That's what they say. The teachers are
Yes.
your spiritual parents.
Yes.
So what
Excellent.
about you? How would you highlight the importance?
Yeah, I think this day is basically, as you know, there is a history behind this day. In many countries, teachers were not having that respect that they deserve.
Yeah.
So to highlight that respect and to make sure that our teachers in countries like Pakistan, in other areas of the world, are celebrating their status and are enjoying a status that are being there in other parts of the world. So it's a very unique day with respect to the teacher in the countries like Pakistan, and I think
Okay.
we should continue with respect it.
Wonderful. And you know, what you guys said it means for you guys and what people should be observing. That I picked up some points to get the conversation started. Now, to be able, and in our introduction, we mentioned, let's start from the quality of the
Yeah.
teachers, because then we can talk about the empowerment and then the freedom.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, when someone is put on a pedestal, when someone is given a status in society, we are trying to get Pakistan to a position where everything is merit-based. You know, there's a lot of areas in our society. So teaching is also one of them, where things are not done based on merit or ability all the time. It's that if someone doesn't have a job or they're out of work, go and teach in a school like for a little while. How are we
Dealing with
making sure that they're at the level quality that they should be?
At entry level, I think now there are a number of procedures put into place to make sure that people with the kind of specialized educational skills, they are inducted in the first place,
Okay.
right? So first of all, you make sure that that happens. Okay. And once they're there, then the teacher training also starts. But what I'm saying is that on an individual level, teachers need to be in this profession because it's their passion.
Okay.
It's not a money-making profession at all. If we look at it from a only commercial point of view, then I don't think we are doing justice to this very, very noble area. It's not a money-making area at all. I mean, anybody coming in to this particular profession to earn money is going to be seriously disappointed and very frustrated.
Yeah.
But if you're coming there because it gives you joy, then there is no profession like teaching, I tell you.
Wonderful.
But that joy can't be taught.
No.
No. And that is why we have days like this.
Okay.
So that, you know, you make the teachers realize what a joy it is, their profession. It's not just a responsibility. If that is there.
I think teachers in between, this is definitely a day for teachers. We definitely respect them, but we have to get all the issues out. I think in between what I've witnessed is, for example, when we used to go to the university, teachers get frustrated too. Because, you know, it is
They're human beings.
it is a very hard reckoning job, because what happens is usually you obviously have to be closer to the dean or to the VC or whatnot, and then the internal politics. So then there are people who actually lose trust within those people. Okay, let me just say teachers then. And then, you know, the things come out the other way as well, and then teachers start to argue as well. So teacher is somebody who's actually very holy, definitely is your spiritual enlightenment source as well. But other than that, you know, UK is one of those countries where only a teacher or a doctor can be called sir, all right? So this is the way they respect them. How do you think the teachers can do it themselves and keep it intact with them, the integrity, you know? I think that's what we need to do. Whoever wants to answer.
We'll start with you and then we can ask Zulfikar.
I think teachers need to understand that this is the 21st century, right? We are in an integrated world, and the most important thing these days is creative ideas.
Okay.
You do not want to get respect out of a student at the cost of that student's creativity and ability to speak up.
Yeah.
That is not what you do, right? So the most important thing, and for me at least, I think the kind of respect I want is that the student should be doing their level best. Okay?
absolutely.
I do not want to be called madam all the time, doesn't really matter. Even within the class, if a student is saying something which is contrary to what I believe, I would let that person speak up. Do not kill their ideas, it's important. I don't want to be called madam.
Okay.
Being called sir is not the reason why we are joining the profession. No, we are here to see them grow and groom themselves.
nice.
Exactly, and I think any teacher that that kind of cuts off a thought or an idea, I don't think you can call yourself a teacher, because that's where ideas are grown and nourished, and we're told to be creative.
So what's your
Mr.
take on
Ali,
this
what do
one?
you
This
think?
is something which we need to ask you too.
Yeah, you are right. As Madam has mentioned that teachers are there to help students grow and nourish. If we are looking at the respect that teacher, in some scenarios we are feeling that teacher have not getting that respect that they should have,
Okay.
and they are getting into other distractions that that are taking them away from their profession. It's there. It's the reality of this world now,
Yeah.
because the system, the way the systems are changing, the way politics is changing, the way living standards are changing, it is affecting the attitude of the teacher. But still, as a teacher, if teachers are integrated in their personalities, they want to perform as good as possible, then certainly the community will pay them back.
Okay,
That's the-
now because you're a technical director of teacher training. Now, that is part of the training when before they even enter the classroom, and we will move on to the the gender mainstreaming and all of these things in a moment. But when they are in the class, when you're seeing that maybe this person doesn't have it, they're in it for the wrong reasons. There are no systems or things, checks in place to prevent them from entering the classroom. They will enter the classroom and then they will teach. What happens after that? How do we then assure that the status and this desire that they want is going to be continued?
Yeah, I would like to highlight the efforts being taken by USAID Pakistan Reading Project. We are working with the teachers, and we have the teacher force in the classroom, and we know very well that these teachers are not performing well. That is why students are not learning in the classroom.
Yes.
So to make sure that our students are learning from those teachers, we have a very comprehensive program for them, and these teachers are being trained on a regular basis, and they are
secondly, I think,
and they are and we continue with them for 2 years, and want to make sure that these teachers are learning from our interventions, so that they can really help students to learn better, and these students, when go into the higher classes, they can perform better.
Okay, excellent.
I,
Yes.
I think that it would be not absolutely correct to say that no mechanisms are put in place to make sure that if there are any deviance, you see, there are going
So
to
tell
be
us, yes.
deviance among teachers, among any other profession.
Well, because we're humans, right?
Yeah, we are, and certainly some of them, when induction takes place, you cannot really predict everything, how a teacher is going to perform in the class. But once you know, that is why a management is there. Okay, good enough that you are having interventions, but I'm telling you, it is happening in institutions everywhere. We have a management in these institutions. We keep a very keen eye, and since some of these difficult events have happened inside universities and schools also, so we make sure that the wrong kind of ideas are not being injected into the students' brains, and wherever they are, trust me, we take very, very strong
Stern
steps.
actions.
Okay, I know.
Stern actions. People have been fired for this.
Okay,
Let
and-
me tell you, and they do get fired.
Okay, and that's very important. And now that's the thing, like, as individuals, like, I don't have children myself. I have cousins, I have friends who have children. Now, all I can do is go based upon what the media tells me, what my people around me are telling, what I'm seeing for myself. Now, this is why we're observing these days, to find out what systems are in place. Because, when I have a child, when I think about it, I will consider, like, what is the teacher training? How involved are the management? Is it a business type school? Is it more of a educational learning
See,
type
I think
institution?
before a teacher goes into the class, they have a proper work plan everywhere. I mean, in places where there are gaps, some programs may be targeting
No, but-
those gaps. But before a teacher goes into the class, he or she should know what they would be teaching, how they would be communicating. But even within that,
Yeah.
even when you give them very clear blueprints and very clear instructions what to follow, those deviant people can do a difficult task. That is why the management is there.
No, but all right. I've got a very interesting thing to share over here, ladies and gentlemen. And you might not feel great about it, but I think we need to face reality. And that is that quite a lot of school teachers were being tested for 5th grade exams.
Okay.
Majority of them failed.
I'd fail.
I mean, imagine. So, you know,
Kidding.
preparing beforehand and then going into the classroom, I think, is a better idea, which you just suggested. So please make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that whatever you're teaching the kids is actually the right thing. And most of the time, even when we talk about higher education, I've seen teachers bringing in the Ivy League cases and whatnot, that, you know, this is what we're going to study, this is what the world's studying. But at least have a better understanding of that case is actually going to make you a better teacher.
Okay, but now we're going to go for a short break. But when you come back, we're actually going to talk about this because I think the people who are not trained have hijacked the teaching profession because there's still a lot of trained, able institutes and teachers and training out there. And majority of teachers can do their job. It's that the small few have kind of made people like us think that that's what everyone's like.
Yeah, and other than that, you know, it's not just the teachers. It's all those people who are running the schools, the private institutions, that they do not even empower the teachers to do what they want to do.
And so
we'll talk about that.
that's what we're going to talk about on our return. Stay tuned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PT while you watching World this morning alongside Maha Maktoum and Shazad Khan. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is 5th of October. We are celebrating, observing World Teachers Day, and the theme is teaching with freedom. I think that's what it is, or in freedom. So, but ladies and gentlemen, I think freedom is one of those essential things. If you cannot teach with a free mind, I think that you are enslaving everybody else too.
Very deep. But now let's talk about the programs that are being run from the development sector, the private sector, and the government sector. So let's start with Zulfikar because you represent the development sector. So this program you've already mentioned before, what exactly are you guys doing and who is it reaching?
Yeah, we are basically working with the government sector teachers, and at the moment we have initiated our program in 38 districts across the country.
Excellent.
And we are hoping to reach 66 districts
Wow.
with the 23,800 teachers. In this program, we are basically working with primary school teachers and helping them to understand how they should improve the reading skills of their students. Not only the reading skills, in addition to that, they are also trained on assessment, how to take assessment. And because in our country, the textbooks that are being developed are not helping them to improve reading skill. That is why we are supporting government, and we are working very closely with the provincial governments and the central government, and developing a lot of supplemental material for them, which is contextually relevant to the country, and it is being developed particularly for the children of the country in Urdu, though it's a USAID funded project, but
It will help us in critical thinking.
Well, it should be in Urdu. I mean, we are
it's
an
Urdu,
Urdu-speaking country.
it's Urdu and Sindhi, and we are also piloting
Sindhi?
in Sindhi, yes,
Wow.
and also in piloting in Pashto. So we are
Excellent.
totally focused on the local languages and not for, usually people think that a development project is basically for English, but it's not for the English, it's Urdu.
Excellent.
And we are totally linked to the government departments. We are also working with the Higher Education Commission, where we have developed reading curricula courses in consultation with the Higher Education Commission, and these courses are part of now AD and VA honor courses that are being offered in our teacher training
And it's great
institutes.
that the government are joining, partnering up with everyone who's actually interested in taking the country
No,
forward.
that is great. But now I
Right.
think the point which you wrote as well is very superb. So now what happens is that you give them classes, you probably train them. But now eventually what happens is that people get back to the field where they came from. They get back in their zone. So it's not sustainable. So how do you think that we keep on reiterating that, okay, this is what you
That is a wonderful
taught?
point which you are making. You see, interventions by design are supposed to last for a short time period,
Yeah.
right? And they should end at institutionalization. Very, very important. I think that would be an answer to many of the questions in your mind. It is building up the institution when an individual feels that he or she is part of a bigger, greater cause and thing. That is how you actually internalize the thing,
Okay.
not a small. You see, what I'm saying is that the kind of ideas which were expressed, I think that is very practical. I think it's a good guideline. I think some of the ideas can be adopted by the institutions themselves.
Yeah.
You see, pick
But
it
they have
up
to take
on,
the
on
initiative.
themselves
Yeah.
also. I mean, these should not be made mandatory, but rather
Yeah,
taken up by
and
the
that's what you
institutions
call freedom,
themselves.
right?
But what was
Because
it?
you see, we have the institutions working. Okay, we need maybe support is something which we
Okay.
need.
We need freedom.
No, and we also
Certainly.
need to update the system as well. We have systems, but they're not up to date.
And how to update them, we can get brilliant ideas from them.
Okay, now,
but at the
okay.
end of the day, the institution has to implement it itself.
Absolutely no, but the institution has to implement it when they have the desire to take it forward. Now, when you look at a lot of the reading material, a lot of the curriculum, it's very old. The quality is not great. This is why people are opting to go into different types or mediums of education. Let's be very real about what the situation is. Yes, there are fantastic ideas. And the government, the private sector, development sector have to work hand in hand. One is not better than the other because one cannot do it by itself. So I want to move on to ask you about the government and the private sector in one moment. But just on Shazad's question again, Zulfikar, once you guys have done these programs, how are you planning to sustain this long term? How do you ensure the longevity of this?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned earlier, that we are working with, everywhere we are working with the government departments.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Like PITE, BOC, RITES, everywhere. We are working hand in hand with them. And even at district level, we have the offices, but we work very closely with the district education department. The teachers we are training, these are government teachers, and the mentors we have selected, these are government mentors.
Okay, so they'll
And the
continue
demonstration.
it.
So our process is for 2 years long. So when we will be there for 2 years, we will be working very closely with them. And after 2 years, we hope that everything will be in the system. And also we are working on the policy level to make sure that whatsoever we are doing is part of the policies at the.
Okay,
So
that
Dr.
is great.
okay.
Yeah, but now moving on, I think what we need to do is that we probably need to talk about HEC as well.
That's what we're
So when we're going to
Higher
talk about Higher
Education
Education Commission, because it can't just be USAID working with the governments as well. Obviously, it has to be HEC. They has to intervene as well.
At the higher
So
education level.
because what I've seen is that Higher Education Commission has always been sending teachers, for their PhDs and different training programs.
Yes.
But we have definitely witnessed that people who went for PhDs never got back.
Broad. One thing I need to tell you is that many of the scholarships are for local PhDs as well. So let us not just put that out of the equation. These are people being locally trained, because many of the teachers are coming back and then they are training other teachers. I think best possible option is there, that people who've had exposure from outside, then they can train other people within the same country. So a large component is of those people. Now there are a few, as I told you, few deviants. We identify them and we just flush them out of the system. And HEC has put in place all the mechanisms where this is done. So just not few, fish shouldn't really,
But this is what
Back into the pond.
And this
you
is
make
why
the
we're
whole pond
highlighting
dirty.
this. Yeah.
So let us not construe it like that,
Yeah.
that everything is wrong. It's not. I think we are a responsible nation. We have responsible institutions here. We are making sure, and at the end of the day, see, the benefit is ours. Ours, the nation is ours, the benefit is ours. We need to realize that ourselves.
Okay, that is great.
Okay,
But,
wait.
But
it's just
HEC
one
is
thing,
trying
one
to do its
statement.
best.
And that
And,
statement
and
is
also other provincial institutions. Okay, I want to add one thing here,
Sure.
because we are thinking in terms of how to get these things institutionalized and make sure that it just doesn't happen for a short period of time and then the benefits simply evaporate. We don't want that to happen. Okay, one example. What they did is that in one of the provinces, I'm not going to name, but I know personally about, that the teacher training was made mandatory for promotion. The two were linked.
very nice.
Excellent idea, I tell you.
That's a
At
brilliant
each
idea.
stage, you want a promotion, go for teacher training. And the teacher training then the quality is monitored. People from outside, the areas, they are also included.
Yeah, that is a
and
great
before
idea.
the promotion is given, again, there is a selection board. We ask them, what did you learn during the training? How did you implement it? Now that is what really works.
And
Exactly.
exactly. And now the thing is, we've had people from HEC, we've had people from the government representing education on the show, and they've said this is a task that everyone, the private sector, the development sector, and the government have to work hand in hand, because they said it's such a big task.
Yeah, but I
The
just want
director
to,
of
I just want to
Education
make one
said that.
statement, and that is that they say readers are leaders.
Yes,
So if you're
absolutely.
talking about institutionalizing, the entire, or probably making the systems to be in place or work, don't you think teachers need to be leaders? And because leadership is going to play that role, that's how you're going to implement. So it doesn't really matter how many teachers you're going to train. You definitely want one of the teacher to be a leader who actually makes sure that all of your concerns are being heard as well,
I
and
teach
then
leadership
implemented.
also here, Shahzad. And I tell you, there are two kinds of leaderships, okay? One is called transactional, the other is called transformational. Teachers need to be transformational leaders, not just getting the thing done and repeating the same over and over again, no, but to inspire the next station.
Yeah.
Now that's very important. Transactional leader, you can make them good transactional leaders by following the kind of programs
I mean,
which
teachers need
are
to be
learned.
inspiring.
Yes.
When you
That
sit
is-
down with them,
that
you feel motivated.
cannot be taught through these kind of programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a kind of passion which needs to resonate through the environment of
Very
the
nice.
institution.
Oh, yeah, and absolutely, and that leads to the whole theme: freedom in teaching and empowering teaching. So now, when you yourself, Dr. Frida, how would you define, I mean, for you, what represents empowerment in teaching and freedom in teaching? What is it? Because we've talked about all the systems, we've talked about all of that, that will help.
I think freedom is such a broad term. It means so many different things at so many different levels and different things for different people.
Different perceptions.
But most important, and I will come back to you again and again, freedom means freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. You do not just say that, okay, I've been given a certain pedestal, now I'm here to do whatever I want. I am here for the state of self. No. You become humble yourself and you say, freedom, it means that I need to learn humility. Okay, I can do what I want, but I would use it responsibility. And there are always spaces to do right and to do wrong. That is what freedom is. You can exercise that right. Nobody can constrain you for that. See?
No, but that's what
in
my
every
point is going to be, that teachers do succumb to pressures. For example, if we talk about private institutions, now what they do is that they obviously get a batch in, and then they have a certain number of people who they're going to make sure that they fail so that the institution makes money too. Now, what do you think the teacher is going to do over there who's not even finding another job? He's going to succumb to the pressure.
No.
He's going to fail all of those students.
No, they're not.
Let's
Trust
highlight the
me,
weaknesses of the system
listen,
too.
that is one possibility. In a very minor number of cases this happens. Unfortunately, when things like that happen, it gets highlighted and blown up.
Negative
I
self.
tell you that if such kind of problems exist, they are only 10% of the system. 90% of the system is not like that.
It's perfect.
You see, if you have to do something like that, you would feel bad when you go home. And then you try to compensate in other areas. We have
but that poor chap will have to come
through.
in summers to the university too as well, just because he got failed.
Trust me that the person who is getting A grade or B grade is not going to be among those. They are going to be among the backbenchers. So, I mean, try and do something so that you can elevate their status on the whole. Just don't put it squarely on the teacher.
And also,
it's management, teacher, student, everything is part of these problems. And the
but
solution
freedom is definitely about not succumbing to those pressures. That's what freedom is.
No, freedom is not succumbing to those pressures, but not losing your whole livelihood as a result. Now, if you are, look, we're talking from a privileged point of view. If you are not, if you are struggling with your income and your job, you're the only breadwinner who's doing a decent job as a teacher. Now, if the management tells you that you have to do something corrupt or, wrong, immoral, you're going to do it because you're not going to jeopardize your family on it. That's why negative things perpetuate in society, because people don't feel the freedom to break free from them.
No, I'm
that's
so
when
sorry.
it starts
I do
to
not
happen
agree,
again and
Maha.
again.
We are a very creative nation.
Yeah.
Trust me, if we can find wonderful ways to do corruption, we can find wonderful ways to find ourselves around that problem, not offend your boss, at the same time do the right thing. I've done it so many times myself, and trust me, there are so many instances.
Can you share an example? What did you do? So that we can learn as well. We are students now.
And also, this is like what I was saying, negative things tend to stick out. You can do 20,000 good things, but that one will stick out. So there are a few bad bunches. This is not everyone across the board. Majority of teachers are great, because that's how we're creating such great Pakistanis. So don't take offense to anything we're saying. We're trying to give a holistic view.
But I also want that, the negativity should be at a level which is realistic. It's not overblown, you see. It's not. The point is, majority of the teachers and majority of the students are good. They are small. That's why I use the word deviant. They are small number of people who need to be picked out and flushed.
And I love the fact that how you've actually taken responsibility of the teachers all around the globe, and it is lovely. And I think this is what is necessary amongst teachers as well, or amongst anybody who's out there, that we have to be united, we have to be on the same page.
Absolutely.
How many times, whenever this training program is going on, how many times do you see that the teachers are not showing up, whether they're not coming, whether they're not interested? How do you pay them incentive? For example, I think this was a great idea. Okay, go to a teacher training program, come back, and you get a promotion. How many times does that happen?
All five fingers are not equal. We do face challenges with respect to teacher attendance in the training program. But we have a system. We are working very closely with the district education department, and we are also paying them some incentive. It's not a big incentive. It's just a travel cost that they will have to come to some station to make sure that they are comfortable there. So we are giving them some incentive, and these incentives are also linked to their classroom level promotion too. So district education department is supporting them in their classes.
Okay. Now, the thing is, throughout what we've been trying to highlight is the theme as well. Teaching in freedom.
Yeah.
That's what all this discussion is leading to. And I'm sorry if you guys are thinking I'm getting upset. I'm not. I'm just thinking very seriously because this is a very important topic.
It is.
Now,
It is.
everything we've spoken about just now, I was just having a thought. The theme, like, you know, for you as well, because, you know, as a teacher as well, like you said, there's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of myths out there, there's a lot of people easy to just paint it as everyone's trying to do a business out of it, they're all bad, they're not committed.
Exactly.
That hinders the freedom and the empowerment of the teachers
Very
because
nice.
it has an effect on their respect and
Certainly.
their say within the meetings. How do we now give that empowerment? Because as you've highlighted very aptly and really well, that there's so many positive things happening. There's training, people are passionate. It's a low pay job, but people still do it. You know, one of my Thayas in Lahore, he's a principal of a school. So they still do it. They, you know, how do you want to take this forward, this theme, and go forward and take the nation forward with you?
Talk to
I
everyone.
think
Yeah.
no, again, I would say that this we I think as teachers need to realize that we are building a nation here, and we are how important our role in society is. And having said that, we need to first, and that how important it is that we become the role models for our students. Keep reminding us on a daily basis. So that's why whenever we have these problems which are distractions,
Yeah.
it is the responsibility of the teacher. That is why we celebrate that day. Have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
It's a, you see, there are so many problems with our system. They're there. They just, we can't wish them away.
No.
They're going to be there. They're going to be bearing heavily on so many, on the management, on the teachers themselves. Okay, so at one point in time, the teacher might perceive it as maybe they are being controlled, whereas the management wants to make sure that there's no deviation taking place. So there are different perspectives to the same issue as well. But on both sides, it's very important that we keep on reiterating to ourselves through days like this that no, we are the role models. We have to do something different.
Exactly.
We can bring the process of change, you know, into reality. These students, they are fresh minds. They are uncorrupted minds. We can groom them into something better. You see,
Very
they are tomorrow, and we have their attention with us. We can groom them whichever way. So we are the most responsible for building this nation. So the teachers need to realize that students really, I think sir also said a good thing here, if it's a wonderful teacher, she or he will get the respect.
Amazing. Sir, what will be your message today?
In my opinion, it's the responsibility of the whole nation. It's not on the shoulder of the teachers only, because a lot of time we say that teachers should do this, teachers should do. But it's a system. It's a system. Even the parents will have to play a role. If a parent in front of his or her children is complaining about the teacher's behavior, it's going to have negative impact on the children's personality.
Exactly.
So we will have to be very careful about that, and I think the system should be there, the community should play their role, and even the parents should play their role effectively,
Wow.
and then we will have.
Thank you so much for being here, and you know, I hope you guys enjoy the day. And Dr. Frida, I think we need to put you in the forefront of this because you really slashed those no, because it's true.
And you spoke very well too.
The negativity of,
very kind of you.
attached to the profession is there, and you know, it has seeped into our brain. The media, you know, we haven't done a just job to all the wonderful teachers out there. So you know, thank you for teaching the kids, and you know, keep doing a great job. And whatever we can do to support it, we will try.
And I've got an example over here, ladies and gentlemen, by the end, since the theme was obviously about freedom and empowerment. So I'm going to pay a rich tribute to one of my professors in my university. His name was Sir Tariq, and what he used to do was, he was a marketing teacher. So what he used to do was, whenever he used to walk into the class, he's not going to read from the book. So, you know, he always had different ideas. He was very creative about it. And then he said to me one day, because half of the class used to flunk actually in his exam. But what he used to say was that, you know, whatever you write, if it convinces me to an extent where I'm ready to probably buy that definition, that's correct for me.
Yeah.
I think if that's how we start teaching kids, their critical thinking is going to be better and better. day by day.
Encouragement. All
Yeah.
you need to do is encouragement. I had that same teacher. I feel like I should say Dr. Charles Hen through my master's. Anyway.
How
so with-
different is the education?
Yeah.
Over here it's Sir Tariq, over here it's Dr. Charles.
Okay, so anyway, with that, do log on to our Facebook fan
This is
page,
with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Mission YouTube
World
page,
This Morning,
and the repeat is at.
11
And if you have any feedback about the show today, you have any thoughts and feelings, do write to us, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
And make sure that you respect your teachers. Look
Yes.
out for yourself. 1, 2, 3.
Good
morning.
morning.